review show. This time we're reviewing Mortal Kombat, the 2021 movie. As always, I'm your host Daniel with my father and co-host Jerry. Say hi, Dad.
Hello.
Okay, um, I'm gonna start it off with this because I don't play a lot of video games. I know essentially much about Mortal Kombat as I do as anybody that plays video games that doesn't specifically play fighting games or Mortal Kombat. So I don't know a huge amount about it, uh, or uh, or never really played any of the games too much. So when I talk about it, it might sound things I know. And they did say a lot. They made this movie for the fans, but from what I know about, and I don't know how the fans have actually reacted to it, but from what I know about like the movie and what's in it, I'd assume the fans would actually be pretty mad at this. Um, because like I mean, first and foremost, the main character of the movie isn't even in the games, and he's not just like a character that's like he's the primarily person in the film. Uh, and I guess, and I know there's like a lot of the character, and they don't even have like all the original characters in the game from the first one in the movie. So like I just don't understand that decision above all. But that's not to say the movie is also not very good. Um, so I just it's one of those movies that there's several points in the movie I just thought, what were they thinking? Um, one of the like and it also like starts off with a clear section of the movie that's supposed to be later on in the movie. Uh, wouldn't you say that, Dad?
Yes.
Because like they literally have a point where it seems like it would make logical sense to flash back to that, as well as they have that scene. Then they start with like an opening text that they should have hired somebody else to write because you could have written that a lot better. But like, um, and it would have made more sense to just see like a fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament, have the one guy lose, and then have like that text pop up like Earthrealm is in trouble, blah blah blah. Uh, and as simple as this movie's plot is, I was lost for a, a decent bit of it. Um, so I don't know. There was just, uh, I guess first and foremost, you're in it for the fights. The fight scenes range from pretty decent to kind of bad, but like they aren't nearly as bloody as you'd expect from a Mortal Kombat movie. I think I haven't seen well, I guess like the one was PG-13, but I haven't seen the other two movies that came out in the '90s. I don't like. I kind of don't know where to begin because like it essentially like it's kind of the origin story for all the characters for the most part, and it doesn't really do anything with them. I don't know.
One
Like,
of the things you pointed out to me is the main character, the Cole somewhere, I think.
yeah, I don't know his name.
Uh, what is it?
It
Oh,
doesn't matter.
Cole Young.
Yeah,
Uh, he is in an original Mortal Kombat,
he's
right?
not in it. No, he's not. He's not just in not in the original Mortal Kombat. He's not in any of the games. He's a brand
Oh,
new character, which like can be okay, but I figure like first off, I can guarantee you have some character in the series that could fit his profile. Like you could do that. Like you could probably you could do that with like oh, I guess like Liu Kang or Jax who are in this movie. You can almost do that too, but like, and if he was just like a catalyst to like summon Scorpion and not actually really fight, because he's
mhm.
like the descendant of Scorpion or whatever, and this
Yeah.
isn't like, this isn't hiding it or something. It's shown in like the first. You
Mhm.
you should guess it if you've ever seen a movie after the opening, but uh, it like and like their supernatural abilities come from a mark, which I don't know if it's in the game. But when I thought I actually kind of like didn't think that was that bad of an idea for like having that. You have to win it. You have to beat the person in a fight or and kill them, and then you get their mark, and then that makes you the eligible champion for the tournament. But and I guess I should have talked about this. The big problem is there's no actually tournament,
Yeah.
and like, and I know the guy says he doesn't want a tournament, but he's trying to kind of cheat. Lin Kuei, I think his name is, um, but he's trying to like cheat and stuff, which, okay, I guess makes sense, but you still should have had like at least 1 or 2 fights in the tournament.
Yeah.
Because they never technically won Mortal Kombat, I don't think. They just beat his people.
Mm-hmm.
And like speaking of that, I realized this like as soon as I got out of the movie, they had the scene where they're all supposed to be like this big defeat because they lose one of their members, but they killed 2 of his members.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, like I checked it, and the one forearm guy that he killed was actually Goro, who is somebody I know about from the thing. So he's a pretty popular character, but he's also like one of the big villains of the series.
Yeah.
He's like they even say like, oh, Prince Goro. Like I think he's even like won some of the Mortal Kombat tournaments and stuff. And I know in like he's usually like just before or the final boss. I know he's just before the final boss in the first one, because I remember because I know you could famously beat him. He was essentially impossible to beat unless you just spam the jump kick. Which and they tried to make a joke about uppercutting, which is one of the more fun things to do in a Mortal Kombat game, but on a guy that all you'd ever do is jump kick in the game. So it felt like almost they took somebody with slightly less knowledge than I had of the series and had them write the script.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like strange. And like it's essential. I mean, the whole script is essentially this guy has the mark from birth, which lets him enter the tournament. Other people have it. What's his name? Shao Kahn? No, it's not Shao Kahn. Lin Kuei. Shao Kahn's the other big guy who doesn't appear in this movie. Is trying to like kill all the people before they can start the tournament. But they're just and he's trying to kill them outside the tournament rule thing. And they all do a really, really bad job of this. Like, Sub-Zero has to be the worst movie assassin I have ever seen. He literally, he kills Scorpion in the first thing, but he fails to kill Jax. He fails to kill the guy's family. He fails to kill Scorpion's entire family. And then he gets killed. So,
Yeah.
spoilers.
The thing that I thought was interesting, the Cole Young.
Yeah.
Originally, he was this fighter, but he wasn't very good.
Yeah, but they never like gave him like
him as terrible.
Yeah, he never did it. Well, they said he was originally good, but like became terrible or something.
Yeah.
Or at least it implied that, or like lost his spark. And I guess you can say he gets that back, but he just kind of gets this weird, stupid armor power, and and then he's the one that kills Goro, which like again is just like I feel like if you know about the series lore and like the characters and stuff, that's really and they didn't make first off they only said Prince Goro and they show his like shadow and then he appears, so I didn't even know if it was then just a forearm guy appeared, and I think there's other forearm characters in Mortal Kombat. So I didn't actually know it was him until I checked it, but I was like, it just seems like a very strange thing. Like, and I get like some of the stuff, like you're probably going to want to focus on Scorpion and Sub-Zero because they're the 2 most famous characters of the series, by far. You're gonna have like obviously you want to have. I figured you'd want to have. I think they have all but like Johnny Cage in, who they mentioned him at the end as like the original fighters. I don't really know though, but. And I get like you want to have like some B and C tier ones that are just there to get killed or stuff, but it's just very bizarre on like how they did it, because it would have been it would have made it just a lot more sense for them to have like a tournament, have the people fight in the tournament, and then some stuff going on in the background.
Yeah.
Like and like. Even then, it's literally we lost, and by that they had the one guy die, even though he killed one of their own, that apparently seemed to be pretty high up, and the other guy killed Goro, who who they literally said was a prince, and according to at least the video games, he won several of the Mortal Kombat tournaments. So,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, we can do this and fight him, and then all the next fights are terrible, except like the one where Sonya fights the guy with the laser eye, Kano. But all of a sudden, all the fights are in the dark, so you can't see what's happening.
Yeah.
And like that one, like has one of the worst edits I've seen in a movie, because it's implied she clearly killed him with a statue that he spat on earlier, a gnome statue, but you never see the statue.
Yeah.
Like you never see her grab it and hit him with it, and will stab. I think, or I think she is meant to stab him with like the cone head or whatever part of it,
Yeah.
which is good and a funny joke. But that never happens. But you don't see it. It's like she kills him and gets the mark, and then doesn't do it.
Well, the woman seems to be the only character that had anything in the movie.
Well, yeah, no, I actually like her storyline and stuff actually kind of works. She wasn't chosen in the tournament, yet she still fought the guys. And I actually think like in the game's like story and stuff, she doesn't have any special powers or anything. She just fights them.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of a cool thing on it.
Yeah.
I know there's a whole weird story on how all the characters came in the original Mortal Kombat. Like they just wanted to have a ninja, and they thought it was cool to have two of them, so they just switched the colors for Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yeah.
But then they gave them cool like obviously you're gonna want to be the guy that can freeze people, or the guy that has a spear that pulls them to him and uppercuts them. Because uppercutting people is the best part of Mortal Kombat, other than the finishers.
Yeah.
And like they obviously like got into like some of the famous like finishing stuff, like pulling the heart out. But they like never knocked anybody on spikes, which is famous. They never like knocked a person's head off, which is another like big one from the original game and stuff. And I get you don't have like the bizarre ones, like where the guy turns into a penguin, or like they turn into animals, or like have friendships or whatever. Because like that whole mechanic, they just got weird with it, which makes it pretty fun. But like, it's called Mortal Kombat, and they mentioned this tournament, but they never actually fight in the tournament.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that you have I think it's kind of neat that you have the guy trying to cheat at it, the main villain.
Yeah.
And not play fair, but it's like, but I don't get really why, because he's like destroyed all of them before this.
Yeah.
And I did think it was, I did kind of like their strategy of, at the end, we're just gonna, for Sub-Zero, we're just all gonna pile on him.
Yeah.
That never worked out, but that was kind of a fun strategy and the thing to think about to do. Would have been. And like I said, it kind of came towards the tournament at the end, because he kind of teleports the people to fight him one-on-one. But it just didn't like, because like it didn't have like, you saw them training, but only for a bit.
Yeah.
You saw them like he gets his special power or whatever because he wants to protect his family. That's fine.
Yeah.
And that's the main guy. But like again, like you literally have. I get you're probably not going to want to have him. Not going to want the main character to be Johnny Cage or Kano, but you have like Liu Kang or something, or like he could have just been like a whole catalyst to summon Scorpion from hell or whatever. You can do a lot with it, because I don't know how even Scorpion got summoned at the end. He just kind of came out of the dagger, and it was implied that it was set up by the lightning dude, Raiden. Who I need to talk about, because his effect of glowing eyes was terrible. What did you think on that?
On what?
Like, you know how he had those glowing eyes?
Yeah.
Didn't that just look terrible?
I think so, yes.
Because, I mean...
In fact, most of the guy who had the worst effects, was the main character, had the worst...
Yeah, the crappy CGI armor or whatever?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, I thought the ice looked really bad, too. Which is like... Because, I mean, the ice looked a lot worse than it did in the video game.
Yeah.
And it just looked like plastic ice and stuff a lot of times, which I realized it kind of had to be, but like I said, But like all the stuff they just did, I laughed. That one scene where like, they're the main guy's like wife and kid are in the house and like they're like packing up to go leave, and then you just see Sub-Zero's like just standing in the window,
Yeah,
who somehow again fails to kill them, but
yeah.
uh, I, I don't know.
Even
Like,
though he kills off the good fighter,
well, he's not the one that kills off the good fighter.
he doesn't really kill off the good fighter, but he injures it
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Well, he injures like he fails to immediately kill Scorpion too, which I
Yeah,
feel like if Raiden would have got there in time, he could have saved him.
yeah,
But and like he failed to kill the family. No, he was a terrible assassin.
yes.
Like absolutely, like all the they just kind of like they beat him, they kill the one guy and just leave. Well, I guess that's not fair. They do escape. On that, like Raiden teleports them out or whatever. But like, no, they don't. Or I don't know. I don't even know why they left. Actually, they just leave and like they could have killed Sonya and because she's buried under something.
Yeah,
I don't remember what happened to the others, but they were losing. But again, like you can't have a part where like, oh, we're in such trouble, we're gonna lose, and then like his strategy, which his strategy is kind of stupid and pointless. Other than like, I thought it was kind of smart to have like, I thought it was kind of smart to have Raiden teleport the people to their locations to fight, and then
yeah,
like Sonya teleported, like they teleported Kano and Sonya to her trailer, and she doesn't
yeah,
have any powers, and he has a laser eye, and so she's like ducking in and out of hidey holes and running around and fighting him, which I thought that was actually pretty clever. But it was again
yeah.
shot so dark,
Mhm.
um, which is weird because like the opening fight scene, which is decent, and the ending fight with Sub-Zero,
Yeah.
which other than the special effects work isn't that great. Those fights are pretty decent.
Hmm.
Um, and all you had to really do in this movie is have like a semblance of a plot enough to like, hey, like your plot literally could have been, hey, we need to win this tournament. Here's the different stages of the tournament. We all have to fight in at some points, and oh, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and just have some cool fights. But they never had that.
Hmm.
It was mostly just like he's trying to cheat on the tournament thing by killing these guys, even though like clearly in one-on-one combat
Yeah.
they wouldn't stand a chance against Sub-Zero
No.
or the other like people.
Well, they even said that.
Yeah, they're like, we don't have a chance against him, which the Ice Ninja guy, I think they called him, which is fine, but and like I said, I don't think any of the actors actually did that bad of a job.
Hmm.
I just think they were working with nothing. Like
Yeah.
I think they had no idea what they were going to do with Kano, the
Yeah.
guy that turns bad with the laser
Yeah.
eye,
Hmm.
because they weren't sure if they were going to make him like a wacky, fun kind of anti-hero or just a villain.
Yeah.
And then they chose villain.
Hmm.
Through most of it. The main guy is just kind of a wet blanket. Uh, Liu Kang and Jax are not really in it somewhat, like Jax is somewhat in it at the beginning. But like you could have actually had a kind of effective opening if you wouldn't have opened with like the ninja fight. You save that for later. You had the opening, you have the main guy lose his MMA fight. They talk for a bit. He's going out with his family. It starts to snow.
Yeah.
That way people that like don't know anything about the thing won't know what's happening or who's coming. And then
Hmm.
you'd have them then run. Then you have like Jax be there, and you have like him take them and start running, and them not know why, and having like maybe some extra like goons for Sub-Zero to just kind of smash through or something, and then just do that because that would set him up as a much better villain
Hmm.
and a much more intimidating threat or anything, rather than like having the fight at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it felt like it totally felt like that fight was supposed to take place later on when Raiden starts telling the story of Scorpion or whatever, the
Yeah.
guy's ancestor. Um, but, hmm and again, like I said, I'm fine with like him. Like you could have had that character and the main not have really be a fighter, but like be
Yeah.
able to like because he's related to him by blood or whatever, have him be able to like turn into or summon Scorpion.
Yeah.
That would have made a lot more sense.
Hmm.
Because like when Scorpion comes back, like it's kind of implied Raiden did something, but we don't know what or why. He just kind of
Yeah.
comes back,
Hmm.
and like I said, to me, like to say this is for the fans is kind of insulting because as somebody who has not played any of a Mortal Kombat game in 10+ years, um, and did not grow up with them in the arcade or stuff. I was a bit too young for that, or like really play them on like any of the consoles and stuff. I'm not a big fighting games fan. Like I knew stuff like that, like it didn't. Like they made like like the low kick joke and stuff in the game,
Yeah.
which is like okay, yeah, but like they completely butchered like. Which okay, yeah, that's kind of a funny thing you can do in the game, and you might be able to use that as kind of a joke in this. But like they didn't understand like uppercutting the how like the uppercuts which is one of the things that made the game famous worked, or like how like for the bosses you just jump kick them, and they're absolutely impossible, some of them virtually, because the AI cheats straight up, but you can just kind of
Yeah.
spam jump kick and beat them.
Hmm.
And uh and they never really like had that's like a satisfying uppercut in it,
Yeah.
or like work in some of the stuff like they really should have, at least I am not necessarily saying they really should have, but at least if you wanted it for some of the fans or something, like, because like watching a guy get frozen and then shattered is cool. That never happens.
Yeah.
Um, watching like watching like the uppercuts in the game are really like they're really kind of cool to watch, because they slow down and stuff, and you lag, and they feel really meaty, and it's a like they're it's one of the things that made the game famous. That and
Yeah.
the blood and gore and stuff. And they were the original games were very much spectacle games more designed for people to watch than play.
Yes.
And like the fights didn't have any really spectacle to them. They were they none of them were really that bad. Um, two of them were decent. Decent to above average. The two fights with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I thought.
Yeah.
Uh, and the one with Sonya could have actually been really good if it wasn't so dark. Um, but yeah, like it's just a lot of the like a lot of the things I really question, because I can understand making it primarily for the fans of the game,
Hmm.
which you probably shouldn't do to have a good movie. But I think if you
Yeah.
do that, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, you wouldn't have a main character that's not in the game.
Yes.
Um, and there are like 70 some characters plus over the years. That's I don't know exactly how many there are, and like that's not counting because I know like in some of the games they have like Freddy Krueger and the Alien and the Terminator and stuff uh, that show up, and you figure you could like use one of them or something. I mean, hell, you could use Homer Simpson from one of the mods of the game. It would be a better main character. Um, but I don't know. It just
The the main reviews on it basically said that it, even though it was designed for the fans, it
yeah.
didn't seem to live up to what the fans would expect.
Well, like I said, like I don't know anything really about the story of Mortal Kombat. I knew that actually, like once I knew it was like completely ludicrous, and insane and unfollowable. And then when the movies came out, they kind of went more of it. But it sounds like there's different realms. They have a tournament. If you lose
Yeah.
so many to one, you get taken over by that realm. And
Yeah.
this is from it. And I knew there was different realms of the thing. And it sounds like the one realm has won all the time. And like, yeah, I can see like the guy being like, I want to ensure my victory. But like, his way of ensuring his victory is stupid because rather than just sending all of his fighters to like attack one guy, he's sending them out individually.
Yeah.
They even talk about it how like none of them could stand a chance against Sub-Zero, and none of them are like as trained or anything.
Yeah.
Um, But
The
mhm,
and one of the other things was almost everybody said the Cole Young, the main character, was
yeah,
sort of bland and uninteresting.
yeah. Well, like I said, the most uh, like don't. What am I trying to say? Sonya's thing is way more interesting than his, and she gets like a quarter of the time because she's actually like kind of cool in the movie, I think, because she doesn't have the marking, so she doesn't have the powers or anything.
Yeah.
She's still, but that doesn't stop her from fighting any of them and
Hmm.
stuff. And they kind of insult her for not having it, uh, and she gets her revenge on that.
Yeah.
And that's actually like a satisfying like arc and stuff in it. Who again, I like the character. Uh, and it should be noted, like I said, I don't have a too firm of a grasp on these characters and stuff, but like I knew the forearm guy. I knew the original characters, obviously. The reptile guy because he's famous too. Even
Yeah.
though like he's sometimes a reptile and sometimes a ninja, I don't understand the whole thing on it. But like the women she kills with like the mouth thing is also a famous character in the series. That's given no real time. I don't know how important she is to the plot, but I mean, to me, like even some of the stuff they say in the movie, like, because like I get them going back to like Goro because they're like, oh, it's Prince Goro, and you see him in a silhouette, but then he gets killed by Cole, and they don't seem to care.
Yeah.
When like one, he like I said in the game thing, I know he's the second big bad in the first game,
Yeah.
um, and he's like won the tournament. I think he was the winner of the last tournament or something, even according to that. So like and I'm sure there's plenty of people that know more about the story than I do. I feel kind of insulted in that.
Yeah.
Like you had this character that just kind of he's a very important character. He's supposed to be very deadly. He just kind of shows up and gets his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Um, you have like and yeah, you should like have some of the characters die and stuff people root for, but I don't know. No, like I said, like some of the stuff just seems like if I was a fan of this, I'd feel insulted about it
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel
Hmm.
it just doesn't feel like it was made by a person that like knew or cared about the property.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I got something for you.
what?
When they originally signed for the movie, they signed up for four of them.
Oh, good. I don't know. Maybe well, oh, I did want to say this because I don't think we mentioned this. The gore in the movie, not very. It's not very gory,
Yeah.
or not very good. Like you have the one scene where the person gets cut in half by a hat. That's kind of
Yeah.
fun. Uh, but other than that, like I don't really remember any of it.
Yeah.
I guess they had the heart pull out, which is again a game thing, but
Yeah.
it's in the dark and stuff. But so it's not. It should have been a lot more gory and a lot more weird with it.
Yes.
Um, like because literally my thing on the movie is rather than watch the movie, you could watch um the like fatalities in the game,
Hmm.
and those would be way more entertaining because
Yeah.
like I said, they do some strange things, they get gory, they get funny, they have some that are like the one guy pulls a giant teddy bear off screen, it just says friendship and it ends. They have them turn into weird animals.
Yeah.
They throw people on spikes. They there's one where he takes the guy and he like one of those potato peeler things and just peels him like that.
Yeah.
Um, they're they're cool. Like they have these X-ray moves that they go into like they like punch up a few times, then you see like their ribs crack in their body or like parts
Yeah.
or like their appendix explode or something. They're way more gory, way more interesting, way more creative, and you
Hmm.
don't have to sit back Cole Young or whatever his name
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
A completely pointless character. When there's like I'm sure like 20 or 30 characters that I'm sure have his backstory.
Yes.
Uh,
Hmm.
cause
It's,
like
you would have think that they would pick at least a character out of the thing
yeah,
because so
well
many characters.
you should have like you would have think they would have at least like you could have literally made changed like one of the characters' backstories that's from the game somewhat to his.
Yeah.
Like to me, it would have just made more sense to like him being important because he can like he's not really that good of a fighter, but him being important because he can become Scorpion. Like
Yeah.
Scorpion can possess him or something.
Yes.
Like that would have made a lot more sense
Hmm.
um, in it. And like I said, I actually thought that's what was going to happen because like his armor was turning red when he got hit, and I
Yeah.
thought like Scorpion would come crawling out of that or something. Because let's face it, you knew he was going to come back at some point
Yeah.
in the movie, because he's also never in like his Scorpion armor. Um, and but like it's one of those movies where there's literally just nothing to recommend on it because the fights are decent, but they're not that great, and you could watch something similar to this, like like John Wick or Nobody, or I don't know. You could literally watch the Street Fighter cartoon from the '90s that at least has one of the greatest endings of all time, in which the big bad guy that you think they kill literally comes out of nowhere in a semi truck to run over the people, and it just ends,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Uh, because of that, it's
Yeah.
one of the funniest endings of all time, unintentionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like if I was a fan of the game, I'd be probably much more mad than I was at it because I'm not really mad at it. I'm just kind of like it's just kind of bland, and there's no reason for it to exist.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like I said, you knew nothing about. Well, I'm assuming you had to know at least something about the games because they were so big in the '90s. But
Well, the only thing I really knew about the game is that they were really gory.
yeah, but was
Uh,
this movie really gory?
no.
Yeah, that's what.
The one scene you mentioned was.
Yeah, and I do think that's a kill from the game. And I know they like I said, I know they had a couple of them with the heart pull out, or like the dragon that became the fire dragon that came and scorched the guy. But even
Yeah.
that could have been made gorier and grosser.
Yeah.
Like it felt like they didn't want to get too gory or gross with any of the kills.
Hmm.
Um, because like I said, you could have had a lot of fun with like Kano being killed with the garden gnome. If
Yeah.
you showed like the garden gnome like impaled in his one eye, and then have like the snot that he spat on it drip onto the other,
Yeah.
like that would have been a fun kill and a funny joke.
Yeah.
But they didn't even show it.
No.
Uh, like I said, and I don't. Like I said, it just didn't. And like they made all this thing like, oh, we almost thought it was an NC-17. No, it wasn't.
Mm.
I've seen way gorier movies that have been rated R.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just kind of I don't understand the thinking of we're gonna add this thing about a tournament and then have none of the tournament in it.
Yeah.
Because you could have like, I mean, even the announcer guy in the tournament is pretty famous. Just like finish him and all that stuff and all those lines, fatality.
Hmm.
Because it's like I said, it's all for like the game was originally made to be very much a spectacle, and this movie
Yeah.
is not.
Hmm.
And that's fine, but you don't really have a story. You don't really have an action scene, any that great of action scenes. You don't really have the characters, and for the game, like you're not really. I mean, I don't know why. Like, if a game I like or something that they said was coming out, and they said the main character wasn't from the games or something, um, and just like assuming the game had like a bunch of characters in it or something, I probably would be pretty mad at that. Uh, like they're like, oh, we just threw in the new character. He's the main character. Okay, why?
Yeah.
Like even if you change a person's backstory,
Mhm.
like to a certain degree, you probably still want to keep it somewhat similar, but it's just like a why would you do that?
Yeah.
It would be like sort of like having like a Spider-Man movie, but not having Spider-Man in it. I'd almost think.
Yes.
or something. You could have like, well, at least not like making it a Spider-Man movie set where like Peter Parker is and not having Peter Parker in it or something.
Yeah.
It's just such a like it's just such in my opinion it's a bizarre choice that I don't know who the choice would be for and who you'd advertise it for.
Yes.
Um, because like I said, if I heard it for like any video game property that I play a lot or like or something, that's not like one of those that's like a different each game or something, because then you could be like kind of making your own story and something in one of the universes or whatever. Um, I'd probably think like they don't care about the property.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, it's just such a bizarre choice to do,
Hmm.
and I don't know why you do it. Um, like, and like, yeah, they could have made him a great and interesting character, but I still would call it a bizarre choice.
Yes.
Um, because I am sure, like, there are, because I am like, first off, we're like, what his backstory is kind of a like, uh, professional MMA fighter or whatever that's kind of past his prime, but then gets thrown into this or something. I'm sure there's a character that like has 90 percent of his backstory, at least 80% of his backstory, I'd say, including the parts that he's the descendant from Scorpion or one of the other characters.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I don't recommend this movie at all.
Yes.
I think nobody's still in theaters. We saw Demon Slayer, which is ludicrous too, but at least entertaining and more bloody. So
Yeah.
see one of those. Or just like, I don't know, the original Mortal Kombat movie actually had some decent effects and it was bloodier, so you can watch that. I've never seen it all the way through, but I know that.
Hmm.
I don't know. What's your take on it?
No, my take is the same. I didn't find it overly
Hmm.
interesting,
Yeah, and
especially the main character.
yeah,
The
like
main
like I said.
character just never.
Mhm.
I mean, if the woman was the main character, she would have been a lot better.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. What they did with Sonya's character, and I wish she actually never got any of the powers,
Yeah.
cause she like, cause one, I mean, she took him on without the powers and beat him,
Yeah.
on a couple of occasions, but um, yeah, like I thought that was way more interesting. And what was I gonna say? And all this movie literally had to do for us to enjoy it is have some good fight scenes and a story we could follow.
Yes.
Like if it would have done that, it would have worked,
Yes.
but it didn't.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, don't see this one. I don't think I have anything else to say to you.
I do not.
Okay, well, again, catch you next time where we're probably going to do Demon Slayer since we saw it, and we're not going to know anybody's name in it. So,
Okay.
see y'all later. Bye.